Hello everyone. Well, just me on my own this morning. There's a few things I want to say, and beginning with thank you. And that's a big thank you, first of all, to my youngest daughter Jane, although I jokingly blame her for the mess I've got myself in. She gave me the encouragement to start with to actually start a YouTube channel of my own, because she thought other people might like to see some of the videos that I've been making. And also, obviously, a big thank you to those of you who have subscribed to my channel, a small but slowly growing band, for which I'm very, very grateful. It's nice to know that other people are enjoying the things that I'm doing. And also I'd like to put on record my thanks to a gentleman called Richard Wobbles, known as the Bald Explorer, on his channel. It was actually during the first lockdown I discovered his channel. I was quite impressed by it and thought I could try doing that, mainly for my grandson Oscar, but then Jane persuaded me that other people might like to see it, and there were one or two things which I felt I needed advice about, and so I didn't think I'd get an answer, to be honest, but I contacted Richard. And now you have to bear in mind he's a fully fledged professional, many years standing in the profession, and he does his YouTube things for a living. But he very kindly wrote back, gave me one or two pointers, gave me permission to use a photograph of his, which I'd asked for, and he has been nothing but kindness itself, full of encouragement, full of advice, full of tips. And so thank you, Richard, I'm very grateful for that. And so here I am. But I thought it about time, as I say, first of all I talked to you about saying thank you, and one or two other things, because I've titled this little bit Windy Wobbles, Gimbals and Thanks. And wind. Let's move on to wind next. I am acutely aware that for some people, just hearing wind on a film and they reach for the off switch. I do understand that. I understand that perfectly. If it's annoying as hell to me to hear the wind on the videos that I produce, I can only understand how it's annoying to the people watching it. All I can do is to apologise for that. I am, as time goes on, trying to find ways to minimalise it. But the problem is, in some ways it's a bit like digital photography. You see so many photographs in magazines now, and they've been touched up, photoshopped and everything else. But what I feel I'm looking at is a painting, not a photo. And to me that loses something. It sterilises it. In the same way that when somebody takes out the wind noise completely, and especially when using a gimbal, which I'll come on to in a minute, there is something about it that it just, for me personally, it loses that spontaneity. I don't quite know how to describe it, because I watch loads of things like that and they're lovely films, you know, and I think, oh yeah, I wish I could get to that standard. But on the other hand, I have to say to myself, do I really want to? Because I'm not sure that that's for me. I'm an amateur. I don't get paid for it. I don't want any money for it. I do something I enjoy, and through the medium of YouTube I've actually found a way of sharing that with other people who might enjoy what I do. So I'm a bit averse to making films that are, for me at any rate, too sterilised. But as Richard often says, and as others do, that is the great thing in some ways about YouTube. It provides entertainment, and it's entertainment for everybody, and it allows all people of all abilities to put something out there. And other people might like it, other people might not. At the end of the day, it's your choice as the viewer. And what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to find ways with the software that I've got of actually reducing that wind noise. And I am considering the idea of using excuse me, wind muffs, if I could get them, but it's very, very difficult to get them for the cameras that I've got, one of which is a Canon Legria, which is what I'm filming this on. And I will cut in at some point here a still shot of the Canon Legria. The other one that I use is a Nikon or Nikon, whichever way you want to pronounce it, bridge camera. This one here. And you see the microphones are not only not easy to find. It's either there or it's there probably, or in there, you see. So, well, no, I'd say it's either side of that, because that would account for the stereo sound. See, either side of there, and those little indentations. So how can you muffle the wind on those? And the Legria has the stereo microphones are flat on the front. And I did try one day, I put sellotape over them, and I thought, great, that'll keep the wind out. Did it? No. What else did it do? It made the camera go tick, 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 tick. Oh, blow this for a game of soldiers. So I have seen something online for another camera where you've got these two, they look like little black bushes, that they obviously fit into holes in the top of the camera where the microphone is. They're not that expensive, so I might give it a try. I really don't want to have to go down the road of buying an expensive video camera that's got a separate mic inlet and tying myself up in knots and all the rest of it if I can avoid it. But on the other hand, it does worry me that quite a bit of what I produce, because it has a bit of wind noise on it, is actually stopping people from enjoying the full video, which might explain why very few actually, according to YouTube, watch them all the way through. And I do record in what I call long format. I don't do 10-minute videos, I don't do 15-minute videos, though I have learnt from experience, try and make them no more than half an hour. And put a video in two parts, half an hour each, which is what I've done. There's only one exception to that, and that's Morning on the Marsh, which is 57 minutes long. And I felt it necessary to keep it to that length because I wanted to try and convey something to the audience. So if you've watched that and you've watched it all the way through, well done and thank you, because I hope you've understood what I was trying to achieve with that. This brings me on to excuse me, the equipment that I use. As I say, first of all, I use a Canon Legria. That's a lovely little lightweight HD video camera, and it does produce some good films. The other one I use, which is mainly for stills, but it does produce the video, as I say, is this this Nikon or Nikon bridge camera. Brilliant camera, lovely photographs, and always handy if I'm out without the video camera, and I've got that one. I know I can take good quality video with it, but again, you've got the problem. The microphones are so sensitive, they're good microphones, but they pick up the wind. I will try and work on that, I promise. So bear with me and watch this space. The other thing I want to talk about is gimbals. And as I said, in some respects, for me, gimbals tend to sanitize a video, which is exactly, it does what the people making the films want them to do, because I know, I've looked at some, the camera wobble, the camera shake on some of mine, I think it's a wonder people don't get seasick looking at it, because I do, especially in the early days. Excuse me. I like to think I'm getting a bit better now. I would like to try and find a way of lessening that shake a bit more. I'm not sure gimbals do it for me, because again, it's that lack of spontaneity, you know. Same with the wind noise. There are people, I mean, the ideal solution to wind noise is that you simply cut the sound completely out of that bit and do a voiceover. But then for me, that loses the spontaneity. You know, I like to think people enjoy me walking down the street and I suddenly, oh, look at that flower over there, isn't that lovely? And I can cut to the flower. It doesn't have the same effect when I'm in the studio saying, yeah, well, look, we're walking down the street here and I'm this, and over here is a lovely little flower. It's not quite the same. I really don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I have tried gimbals, and this is the first one I bought, and I managed to get it quite, well, I say cheap, I mean 3-figure sum, and it is actually in a little kit for a GoPro. Problem is, it was sold on the understanding, because the blurb that comes with this stuff, even when you buy them new, says it can be adapted to fit small video cameras. Well, I'm sorry, it can't be adapted to fit mine, and obviously the bridge camera won't fit it. So I'm now saddled with a piece of expensive equipment that I can't use. But this is what most people are using now. It's motorised. There are 3 little motors in here, and they keep the camera stable. And here's a little control panel on the side where, as you're walking along, you can, you know, control the motion and turn the camera whichever way you like. And that is indeed very handy. I actually would be quite willing to give that a try, because it's light enough for me to carry, and remember, I've got heart failure, so I can't really carry things that are too heavy too far. This is quite nice and lightweight, and I'm still wondering if I can find a way to alter it in some way to cope with my video camera, because I think I can find a way of doing this gimbal business without taking too much away from the spontaneity, and I'm perfectly happy to give it a go if I can find a way of doing it. But I don't think I can use this. And gimbals that would fit the camera are £400–500 a time, unless I buy a GoPro. That's still going to be £300 or £400 a time. I don't really have that kind of money to spare. So I picked up a very, very cheap, and it was very cheap, manual gimbal. Now, I have no idea how this is supposed to work. My cameras screw into the top, which is what they're supposed to, but then you've got these things to alter, and at the bottom there's these dirty great weights that won't come off, and the whole thing weighs something like 10 pounds, 5 or 6 kilograms easily. There is no way that I can carry this. Really, there isn't. So at the moment I'm stymied. I'm going to see if there is a way. I'm a bit reluctant to take that Lamprost gimbal apart, because I need to sell that to get some money back if I can't use it. If I start fiddling around, ain't nobody going to want to buy it. So I am at a loss, to be honest. But I will work on ideas, and I'm hoping that, again, with different techniques and the different bits of software that I'm using now, that I do hope I will be able to produce videos of a slightly better standard in the coming year, and I promise I will do my best to deal with the wind noise. Projects coming up, well, if lockdown is lifted, I have a trip to mid Wales booked in late June, and running in from late June, early July, I've also got a trip booked way up north to Strathpeffer in northern Scotland, where I hope very much that I might get a chance to have a look at and film the Northern Lights. So those are two things for the summer, which will probably, I'll keep on video file and do the same next winter as I've done this winter. I will use that time to produce the videos to keep my channel going. In the meantime, as far as my fortnightly films are concerned, and I'm going to try and keep them coming out once a fortnight. Once a week was a bit of a rush and a bit of a hassle. So I'm going to bring them out, still try and bring something to you once a fortnight on average. And I have got plans for this summer. I've done Eastbourne, yeah, not all of Eastbourne, but the bits that I really felt were more worthy of filming, although there are some places I still might go to. But I need to go a little further afield. Plenty of people have done Hastings and Rye themselves, but I've a couple of things in mind for Hastings that I might pay some attention to. My main project that I've got in mind at the moment is to look at the bridges on the three rivers of Rye, as I'm calling it, and that's the Rother, the Tillingham and the Breed, which all flow into the channel at Rye, and they all have bridges at various points along the way, and I want to look at how those rivers flow on those bridges, the places they flow through, maybe some of the history of the area, particularly with the iron industry and what have you, and one or two of the tales that go with it. And that's the kind of thing that I've got in the back of my mind for this summer. So watch out for things like the giant child-eating ogre of Breed and that kind of thing, you know. And of course, because my name is Station Master's Choice, if I get the chance to do the odd bit of railway filming, then I certainly will do. You've seen film of my railway, the Kentney Sussex, so I've no great plans to do any more there. But if we have an event, I may very well film that for your enjoyment. And there are one or two other things that I've got in the pipeline. So I think that just about wraps it up for now. It's been me talking for a long time, and I'm sorry about that, but I just felt it important to spend 15 or 20 minutes telling you roughly where I'm at, what I'm thinking, and I do hope you carry on enjoying my videos. I'm trying my best. As I say, I'm a rank amateur, but it's something I enjoy, and as I always say, if I can bring a little bit of pleasure amongst all this doom and gloom to just one person, then I've achieved something, and I've helped them have a bit of fun and enjoyment. So thank you very much for bearing with me on this video, and I look forward to hopefully producing more things that you'll enjoy as time goes on. So goodbye for now. Goodbye.